Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. I have a wonderful guest with us today. Her name is Victoria Henrich. And she has lots of things that you are going to be really excited about. She is an author and a speaker and a mom of 5. She's a wife. She is a perpetual optimist who is also a breast cancer survivor who loves food, particularly tuna bowls, if she has a choice. She has 3 dogs. She does not love all 3 dogs. She only loves one of them because the one sheds too much, one barks too much. And she just launched a women's retreat, which sounds like so much fun that we're going to learn all about. And today, she's a guest on Productive Joy. Victoria, welcome.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
I don't blame you for being super excited because this is going to be super fun. And people really get bored quick. So what would you just say to them in like 30 seconds or less to make them go, oh my gosh, this is my episode?
Well, did you like being happy? Because that's the one thing I bring to the table is happiness. And I teach you to train your brain to find more happiness in your day. So who wants to be happy?
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay, hold that book back up because if everybody's not looking, it says practice makes positive. Prioritize happiness 10 minutes at a time. Well, that seems practical enough. I kind of love it. I think it looks fantastic. So
Thank you.
you're looking great. Tell us what led you to the point where you decided you need to put something in writing to get the rest of us to be happier.
Well, I call it my pocket full of sunshine. So it's just a tiny little baby book. If you sat down and read it cover to cover, you could literally do it in like 5 to 10 hours. But I do not recommend that. I recommend you reading it 10 minutes at a time so you can truly absorb it. It's honestly nothing that you haven't heard before, in all honesty. It's just putting it into practical application and reminders about choosing happiness. You know, we tend to choose the things we have to do in the day. And sometimes that doesn't bring us joy and happiness, unfortunately. So it really just is making sure that at least 10 minutes every day, you do something that makes you happy. It seems simple, right? But sometimes that takes effort and reminders.
Simple doesn't mean easy. That's something that I have certainly learned since I started doing this podcast is simple things are what sticks in our brain. And so kudos to you for making it simple. But that doesn't equal easy. It's sometimes the hardest things that we have to do are actually quite simple. And I would agree that 10 minutes a day is very doable. And being happy is something I would think most people want, but lots of stuff gets in our way. Before I ask you what gets in our way, because I'm sure you figured out some things, I want to know what drove you to do this, because ultimately I'm going to guess you had a journey, and that journey took you to the point where you were like, yeah, I got to put this in writing. So what happened in your world that got you to this point?
True. So I owned a staffing company I ran it for about 15 years. I owned it for the last 10. And I loved my little company. But it just came to a point after COVID and with some insurance issues, we just decided to sell it. And in that process of selling it, it's literally like you're selling your baby, right? Because you created this company and you have these clients that have trusted you for 15 years. And, it's just, it's an energy, right? And I needed to find the right person to buy it, which thankfully I did. She's wonderful, woman-owned, local-owned, and she needed it. We were kind of yin and yang of staffing, so it was the perfect thing for her to buy. But during that 6-week, 8-week or reviewing or questioning or just all of these different things. So the one thing I found control in was journaling, writing. I would wake up in the middle of the night and it would just pour out of me. It was, I think, kind of a thing to remind myself to choose happiness and to find happiness in every situation. I honestly didn't know if it was going to turn into a book, but I did have a goal of 50,000 words when I first started, and I kind of did them 10,000 at a time. And as they got to the next 10,000, I was like, wow, this is really going to happen. And then I always knew I wanted it to be Tiffany blue.
What's the significance of Tiffany blue?
It's just beautiful.
It's beautiful. I do agree.
I had a minivan back when I had 5 kids, and I didn't want to have a minivan. I, didn't want to be the minivan mom. So instead of saying, everybody get in the minivan, we're taking the minivan, I named her Tiffany. So I could say, get into Tiffany. And it made me feel better. So Tiffany blue, Tiffany's, it's been my thing.
I love it. Okay. Do you have any Tiffany's jewelry? That's important to know.
I do have a couple of pieces, and I remember getting my first one at the age of 32. And just as soon as I saw that box and that white bulb, I was like, it didn't matter what was inside.
No, it made no difference whatsoever. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, so this Tiffany Blue book that kind of poured out at you is designed to help people have bite-sized chunks
Mhm.
of solutions to the fact that life is lifing.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, there's some techniques in there about just retraining your brain. And the example I like to give is when you're going to buy a car or when you just bought a car, all of a sudden you see that car everywhere you
Everywhere.
go.
Yeah.
Right. Because your brain has said, oh, she likes this car. And every time you see it, you get a little endorphin or adrenaline or some kind of chemical that makes you happy. And so basically, it's like training your brain for that. So I suggest laying in your bed for 10 minutes every morning, envisioning your day and
Mhm.
seeing it how you want it to flow. And that kind of sets your brain up to say, okay, well, I'm looking for this and this. And when I see it, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna grab it. And it's the more you do that, the more your days turn out the way you want them because your brain is searching for it for you, kind of on autopilot.
Yeah. It's like design instead of default, right? Like sometimes we get things by default, right? They just happen. But when we do it by design, then we are looking for it and we are able to grab those pieces because we know what we're looking for. I love that. I've talked about it before on the podcast, but our kids and we used to play a game where we looked for yellow cars. And when you saw a yellow car, you hollered out, "Jugoso," which is juicy in Spanish, sort of.
Mhm.
Wouldn't even think that's really the correct word for juicy, but that's what we would call it because it started out as juicy. And when you're playing the game, you see so many more yellow cars, and it's not like they just appeared on the highway. They're always there. So I think what I'm hearing is intentionality. The more intentional we are with how we approach life, the more we get to be the authors of that life instead of being the victims of that life. So being the mom of five taught you that, being a cancer survivor taught you that, be like, what taught you to, because you sold this company, obviously that was when you wrote the book, but
Right.
or
Right.
you learned that at a really young age.
Definitely when I was raising my children, our dinner topics were what was your happiest moment of the day, your saddest moment of the day, and your learning moment of the day. And so kind of call them highs and lows and learning. And that just kind of trained them throughout their day because they knew mommy was going to ask them that later at dinner and that they had to have an answer, that they were kind of like looking for those things to capture and talk about. So that was part of it. Just kind of growing up, there was, and it's in the first chapter of the book, but there was just a big moment in my childhood that I decided I didn't want to engage in behaviors that I was witnessing or being pulled into. And I decided to focus on my identity and who I was at a very young age. And in that identity, I wanted to be happy and I wanted to choose happiness and I wanted to change my path so I could have a happy ending.
So much power in the choice, right? We, I think, victimize ourselves more often than not and act like we don't have a choice, but we absolutely have a choice. And
Absolutely.
people just tend to shy away from that, forget that. And so, audience, I'm reminding you right now, you do have a choice. The good and
Absolutely.
bad are both always there. Go look for the good, right? So that leads me to my favorite question because ultimately it makes a ton of sense for you to be on this podcast. It's called productive joy, but everybody gets their own definition of productive joy. If you had to define it, how would you define it?
Well, productivity, being resourceful in your day, getting the most done that you can do, being productive, creating, and then joy, obviously, is happy and fun and exciting. And so, whenever you can be productive and producing and then happy with it, I think that's creativity. And I think that's what most of us are craving in our lives most of the day. We don't want just a job, we want a career, we want to be fruitful, we want to produce, we want to feel like we're the reason that is happening in a day, our individuality.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you told me at the beginning that one of the things that has just recently happened is that you have a place that you used to just go to vacation, I'm guessing, and then you turned this into a women's retreat. So I'm painting a picture. You tell me if it's the right picture. Your goal in life is to be more positive. You are trying to spread that positivity. Words are hard. You have this place that could have been a really useful tool for that. And you said, yeah, let's make this happen. How did that happen?
Absolutely. Well, one of my very best friends was in corporate America for over 30 years, and they just recently downsized, and she decided to leave. So in that, we both own the house together. So it's two couples that own the house together. And it's in Nebo, North Carolina, which most people have never heard of, but it's about 50 minutes outside of Asheville. And we're driving up there just to do some maintenance on the house and get things ready for season. And we're like, gee, wish we could spend more time here. And gee, wish we could do things together. And gee, I wish we could have like women come up here and experience it with us because we love new people and we love women and we love all this good stuff. And then it was like, light bulb, what? We started a retreat. And literally that night when we got to the cabin, we typed everything out and posted it everywhere. And it's just been, we feel compelled to do it. We feel like it's more of a calling and we feel like it's been very blessed. I posted something this morning and it got 46 shares, which means that people are sending it to their loved ones saying, let's go do this. So, I mean, the excitement and the enthusiasm behind it, but we're going to have crafts. We're going to have some rituals. They're kind of secretive, but just stuff. We're going to do some yoga. We're going to have a big fire pit and burn some things.
Oh, that's so fun. How many women can go?
Maximum 8.
Okay, so it has to be a small, knit, close knit. Now, typically in the past, have the women known each other ahead of time, or are these strangers who become friends?
Strangers who become friends. However, you can do double occupancy. So we have 3 king size beds that you could choose to bring somebody with you and sleep together. Or there is one room that we could put an air mattress in if you didn't want to sleep together, but you're sharing a room.
God.
So we don't
you're
want
bringing
strangers to share a room per se, but if you wanted to bring the double occupancy and bring a friend, we've had sisters come. So, it's open to anything really.
Oh, I love it. Is there a theme for the event? Like, leadership or closeness or finding yourself?
Each month there's a little different theme. This month is fall into change.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so that's for October. Do you already have November and December planned? Do you do it every month? How does that work?
We do it every month and we hope to get to 2 a month. We do have November set, but I cannot remember what it is right now because I'm focusing on October.
Well, I was gonna say we're recording right at the end of September. This is gonna come out in November. So whatever it is, go look up Victoria, which by the way, now is a perfect time for us to just say, how would someone find you, your book, your retreats? Like, what's the best way to find you?
I do have a website. It's victoriahenrich.com, and Henrich is spelled Henrich. I do have all kinds of social medias for Practice Makes Positive on Instagram, all of them, TikToks, Facebooks, all of them. And then we just started Serenity Summit Retreat. So it's actually called The Retreat at Serenity Summit. That's on Facebook. And then Instagram is serenity.summit.
Love it.
So yes, please find me. And then if you want more information, you can DM me and I will email you the information. We do need to add the retreats to the Victoria Henrich website, but you can email me through that as well. We do have Serenity Summit Retreat at yahoo.com.
Look at you. You were smart enough to buy all the domains. So that was really intentional. I love that. Well, okay, so clearly you were a businesswoman for a long time. You still are, very obviously, doing that same thing. What advice would you have for people who are trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up and are trying to decide what their next chapter looks like?
So one thing in the book that I firmly believe and have lived my life doing is there is no one-stop destination. You should have so many things you want to do in life, and you should try all of them, and you're not going to be good at most of them, and that's okay. I wrote a book. I mean, I don't know. I think it's great. Most people think it's probably not. I don't know. But you don't have to be good at it. I tried pickleball once, terrible at it, but boy, did I have so much fun that day doing it. So the whole point is find what you like and do more of that. And maybe you're going to be successful at it and maybe you won't. Maybe it will just bring you happiness. But I say never stop trying and never stop doing. I mean, if I thought my destination was that staffing company, I wouldn't have anything else. And I'm more on fire now than I have been. And I'm hoping this will go even bigger and better than that ever did. And creativity was not something I would have described myself with. I was definitely type A and organized and methodical. And now I'm more whimsical and creative. And expressive. And so it's a whole new me. So I think you should be forever evolving and changing and trying on new hats.
No, it's so well said. And Victoria, I don't know that everyone is as comfortable as you are with that whole, I'm not going to be good at it the first time, right? I think a lot of our personalities come into play there. But what you just said is so important and so valuable that it's okay to not be good at something, but to try it. Right. Like I know there are certain things that I just am not going to do. Right. Like and it's a mental block. One of them, and this is a weird one, but why not? Virtual reality, like how you put the goggles on and you do the thing. I do not ever want to do that. I don't know if it's because I'm afraid of how ridiculous I'm going to look doing the things. I really don't know what my aversion is to it, but I know I have one, right? Like, so I should probably just try it, is what
Yeah, you
I
should.
should probably put the stupid thing on my face and just look like an idiot and be fine.
It's totally a safe space with safe people when you first try it. It's definitely it's a weird feeling because but I was afraid to take steps because you don't know what's around you.
Wow,
I
because
don't
you
know
feel
what's
like you're
going
gonna fall
around
into
you.
a giant pit or like off a mountain or something. And again, that's a silly one, but it's one that I think you just pointed out, like with playing pickleball. I wasn't good at it, but I had a lot of fun. I think we paint ourselves into corners sometimes because we're afraid of I'm not going to be great at this, or I'm an achiever and that doesn't align with achieving. I didn't actually accomplish anything. I don't think what you're saying is you have to try everything, but you have to be willing to try things. You can't just stay exactly where you are. And yet, I think there were generations before us that honestly thought that's the only way to do it, right? Like you work this job for 30 years and then you retire and then you travel. And that's it.
Right.
And I don't think we're living in that space anymore. And I know that the next generation isn't looking at things that way. I think there's just a healthy evolution happening, and you're giving a roadmap for how to navigate that healthy evolution. So well done.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I look at it, this is kind of a silly thing, but I look at it like I've died, I've gone to heaven, and I'm up there talking to my old angel friends, and they're like, so what did you do when you were down there? And boy, do I want to be able to go, I did this and this and this and this.
Yeah. Yeah. Are your kids that way? Like you're how old are your kids? You've got
My oldest is 29 and my youngest is 14.
oh my
So
goodness.
big span in there. The two older ones are having, well, I guess the two older girls are having babies and doing the baby thing. So, but both are set in their careers. One's a nurse, one's in corporate America, and they're both doing really good. My son is definitely like-minded and to me. He has a million things that he wants to do and dreams of doing, and I know for sure he will do all of them. He's amazing. And then my younger two are still at home. One's going to go to college next year, which makes me sad
Oh
because
my
when they
goodness.
leave, they don't come back. And then my youngest, she rides horses and she jumps higher than I've ever wanted her to jump. So she's fearless. I fear for her more
Yes.
so than she fears for herself. So
Well, I mean, just listening to you, first of all, light up about your children, which I love. You have given them wings. You have said, go and do and figure it out. And I think as a mom myself, my kids are 24. I have twins, and now one of them is married. So I have a bonus daughter. In that span of in that point in life, the world is in front of you and you could do all the things if you
Right.
just let yourself do all the things. And I think what your book does is it reminds people that it's all within your reach, right? Like you can do all of these things if you choose to look
Right.
for them. I think
Right.
that's pretty great.
And choose the things that make you happy because that's the ones that you'll be more successful with because it
Right.
radiates out of you.
Yeah, it does. And it affects everything else, right? Like the bright spots shine light on all the others. So this has been a fascinating conversation. I have genuinely enjoyed it. And people know where to find you, which is super important. But I do have some rapid fire questions for you if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay.
Put her away.
Okay. Question number 1. What is your definition of fun?
Fun. Anything that brings a smile to your face.
Yeah. Do you have an example?
I love dancing.
That's so fun. I do love to dance.
It's
I
just,
don't have very many occasions to do so anymore, but I love it.
I love a good Friday night dance party.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Sometimes it's just me and the dogs.
All of them or just the one you like?
All of them at that point.
Okay. How do
I
you
usually hold the one I like.
There you go. Well, to see then that's sweet. Yes, I appreciate that. That makes good sense. How do you know that you're showing up as your authentic self?
Trying different things on, even when you don't want to and you're afraid to do them. You just mustering the courage to do them anyway and laugh at yourself through it.
Because, yeah, you do have to just be lighthearted about it. Even when I put the virtual reality goggles on, I'll let you know if I do that. How do you channel your best self on your worst days?
Remember that you have one life and that you've got to give it your best, and not every day can be as magnificent as maybe you want it to be, but it's still a good day because you're above ground and you have people that love you and you're not sick and you're not in a hospital. And so even on a bad day, there's many blessings to count.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. Last question, tough question. By nature, our brains only hold on to one major idea in a 30-minute time span. So if you could hand the audience the one thing you really want them to remember, what would it be?
Choose what makes you happy. Happiness should be your number one priority. Do the things that you love to do more often and do the things you don't like to do less often. You have to do your stuff, right? You got to get your stuff done, but then make space for the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Victoria, this has been such a pleasure, and I am so grateful that you decided to share your happiness on Productive Joy.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It was so much fun. This is my first podcast, by the way.
Oh, I would never have guessed. You handled it beautifully. Well done. Well,
Thank you. Thank you. So much fun.
we got to be on her very first podcast with her. So well done, Victoria, for crushing it. You did great. And
Thank you.
listeners, I need you to figure out what you're going to take from this, right? Because otherwise you just wasted the last 30 minutes. And I don't think that was a good plan. Everything Victoria said is actionable and something that you can do right away. So maybe it's that you go buy her book. Maybe it's that you try the practice of just laying and visualizing your day before you ever even get out of bed. Or maybe it's to remember that sometimes you need to have a Friday night dance party in your house. I don't know what the thing you're going to grab onto is, but I do know that when you choose to do things a little differently, you get different results. So today, I'm going to ask you to figure out a way to turn fun into action.